Welcome to the Innovation World Young Collaborator podcast series. My name is Siddharth Vikram, and today I'm interviewing someone who has not only founded multiple million-dollar companies and has sold up to $250 million to stores, but also selflessly helps scores of aspiring innovators pursue their dreams. He has worked with Kevin Harrington, a very notable shark in the hit reality show Shark Tank. He is someone that I and many others look up to because of his unique personality and skill set. Today's episode is the innovation guru, Jim DeBetta. Hello, can I call you Jim?
You can. Can I call you Sid?
Yes. Uh,
I
so
love the
let's,
energy, Sid. I love the energy. This is great.
thanks. I appreciate it. Let's start to get into our questions. So my first question is, how and when did you first get into innovating? And can you tell me a bit about your first project?
Well, I think I was sort of born into this, Sid. My family had a chain of retail stores. So I sort of grew up around this business about products and innovation. And it just sort of stuck with me as I went through school and into college. And when I finished school, I knew that I wanted to be my own person with it when it came to business, like creating a business. And so that really started me off. And our first business, or my first business, was in the sport optics industry, meaning binoculars, telescopes, spotting scopes, handheld magnifiers. I don't even know how I got into that particular business. I just met somebody and we agreed to bring these types of products to market. And 10 years later, we had a $20 million a year business. And we didn't know what we were doing, Sid. We learned as young guys how to do these things, and we made a lot of mistakes. But that was my first foray into entrepreneurship and into the world of innovation.
Okay. So did you, when you were growing up, you said your parents were into the retail business. Did you sometimes go and attend those meetings, or did they sometimes like use you as an example for the retail, like a kind of consumer identity? I forgot what exactly it's called.
That's okay. So when I was growing up around this business, I was like a lot of kids where my parents would say, "Hey, come work in one of the stores," and I would stock the shelves. That's the kind of thing I did. But what happened was I learned how to see what products might cost to buy. So obviously, if you have a retail store, the store owner has to buy products from companies, from innovators, sell. So I started learning the buying side. So I would attend vendor meetings, like the people that buy my dad's stores, all the products, to meet with those companies to decide which products we wanted to sell. That's sort of how I got involved in the choosing and innovation side of the business.
Wow, that's an upbringing that would, I would say, probably really gear you towards the whole retail business. Just knowing how you have
Yes.
to go to the vendors, get like a kind of precedent in, and know the amount of profit you'd want. I think it would be a very good upbringing to set you up for what you do. So my next question is, what has your most challenging project been and why? And what are some lessons you've learned from those challenges that helps you out like now when you create new projects?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I have any one particular one. I think each project brings its own set of challenges. But I remember when I was working on Shark Tank, Sid, how challenging it was because this is a big TV show. And at the time, it really wasn't well known, but it became very popular, as you probably know now. And working with some of those people that pitched on the show, people that you see on the TV show going up to the Sharks and pitching, after the show would air, talking to them and trying to get the deal done and actually get the product sold into retail was very challenging. And it was challenging because these are people that were getting money and advice from the sharks, and they had a lot of pressure on them to succeed. So getting those products into the big retail stores was a little bit nerve wracking because I didn't want to let them down. So there's no one particular project. I just think that each particular time when I work with an inventor or a startup company has its own set of challenges. And you have to just work through those until you get hopefully a positive result.
Wow, that's very interesting. I would we're gonna get into more of these questions later on, but I just want to briefly ask, do you think that this gearing up the people from after the Shark Tank to get their products into retail, is that what partly inspired you to create your own? Like,
Well, I think what inspired me was just growing up around the product business with my family's retail stores. I always felt like it was fun to find the new products to sell in the store and then watch people come in and get really excited and be very happy about buying them and saying, "Oh, look at this. I want to get this." And then they would buy it. And I think that was a lot of fun for people. And I think that just led to me wanting to be in the product business down the road. And of course, I do it in different ways today. I help a lot of entrepreneurs, but I think that was a big thing for me. It's sort of backwards, right? I grew up in the business and then worked on Shark Tank later and other things. So the inspiration wasn't after Shark Tank; it was all the things I was doing when,
okay.
like you, like you're right. You're inspired at your age now, and that's going to lead to other things that you do down the road that are probably similar.
I've read that you have sold around $250 million and, as you just said, worked in the show Shark Tank. But I would like to ask, what do you believe your greatest achievement is?
Well, this may not be a business thing that I'm proud of the most is raising. I have 4 kids, and they're from teenagers into their 20s. And through all the hard work it takes to be an entrepreneur or to help other innovators and all of those challenges that go along with it, raising a family and being happy about doing that is actually my greatest personal achievement.
That's very heartwarming, I would say. Um, so it makes sense that just you really extended both sides. You made sure you're happy and raising kids while you're also really raising a bunch of innovations up to market. So I would
That's
say
good. Yeah, I
you're
like that.
raising the best of two worlds, I guess.
I love that. That's exactly right, Sid. I get to be happy with my family and my personal life, and then I get to help people as young as you and all the way up to people who are in their 80s and 90s, believe it or not, that still want to innovate. It's very rewarding for me on both sides, like you said.
That's very nice. What is the most valuable lesson you've learned so far that continues to guide you towards your goals?
Oof, that's another. You got these are great questions because they're so hard to pinpoint one answer. But I think what happens in this realm is that when I see people who don't give up, who stay committed to what they're doing, to me, that's a big part of this business that is rewarding personally and professionally, is to see somebody that has a good idea for something and they know that it's good and they have found out that it is viable out there and they just don't give up as hard as it can be. You have good days and bad days when you're in business, but the people that persevere, that push through, that do not stop, and they say, I'm going to be successful and I'm going to surround myself with the best people and positive people to make that happen. That to me is the biggest part of this business that allows innovation to continue to go forward is the positivity and commitment to the business.
Commitment really, like, you can't grow a tree unless you water it, I guess,
Yeah,
every day.
and cultivate it and prune it and everything else. Yes, it's constant work. Even successful people, Sid, when you see them very successful, they will all tell you that the work never stops. The more successful you become, the more work comes with it. And that commitment to excellence and helping people and also running a successful financial business is the goal, I think, of any true entrepreneur.
Wow. So, a brief aside here, like Ben said, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yes,
You have the
sure does.
responsibility to continue what you've started, and you know, I mean, maybe superheroes are more like innovators than we thought.
You're right. There are some superhero innovators, that is for sure.
What has your favorite innovation experience been till date?
Innovation experience. Do you mean like specific products or
Um, I mean, like an experience maybe that had to do with innovating or products, anything in between. Like, what do you think your favorite one was?
again, I've been doing this for 30 years, and it's hard to to pinpoint just one, but I have found that generally when I work with products that are in like the healthcare or science, those things are generally really rewarding and nice for me to work with because they not only help the entrepreneur to run a business successfully, achieve their goals, but they're helping other people. So things that are like medical research, medical devices, scientific explorations, things that really change lives for the better and for potentially millions of people. Those are the types of things that really sort of like get me in that regard to really help and want to keep doing this, the business that I do to help innovators.
Well, I guess you've answered. I guess that's a huge range of amazing experiences. But I understand that innovations that are often really selfless are often really rewarding to both parties involved, the consumer and like the people that create it. Now I have a couple of questions about your experience guiding other innovators to get their ideas onto the market. My first one is, what is your motivation for helping innovators realize their product in retail?
I think that motivation is what we were talking about, Sid, is that it's nice when I can help somebody who wants to do something really special for a lot of people. I work with a lot of products. Some of them are just fun or silly products, or maybe they just are just something you want to buy, but it's something you don't need. But what keeps me going, if you will, is working with people who want to make a difference. I love what you're doing, Sid, for example. Young innovators, that's the future, right? You're the future of what is to come. And that makes me really excited because a lot of people your age would just be hanging out on their phones, video games, sports, and those are all fine. They're all good to do. Don't worry, we all do them, but that you go that extra mile to say, hey, I have ideas and I'm going to pursue them because what you and your age group pursue today are going to be the things of tomorrow. And we need that innovation. It's not just, oh, it's nice that Sid and other people do this. What you're bringing to the table is essential for this world to keep going and for things to be fixed and cured and to help people and to bring fun new things to everybody. This is what keeps me very interested and happy about being in this business.
Like the it's very like how whatever you do today will have so many great actions on the future. Like time only goes forward. Those that are young now will be the world's leaders of tomorrow.
Yes,
Like,
absolutely.
yeah. What are the top three pieces of advice you would give an innovator who doesn't know the next steps to pursue their innovation?
Well, I think today, Sid, there's a lot of ways to learn what to do. For example, okay, I have my website, and on my website, I have these essential steps to inventing. There's so many available resources, whether it's through industry people like myself. AI is obviously a great tool today for people to use to get answers immediately. That and they're reliable, generally speaking. Of course, it's always good to speak to a person, but I think that going online, speaking to other innovators who have been successful, can certainly tell you what steps to take that worked for them to avoid making mistakes without getting advice. So yeah, those are a few tools that you can use.
But yeah, like you can only learn from those who've like walked the path. It's
That's the best learning, Sid. When you talk to somebody who has done it, who has been through it, has gone through the ups and downs, there is no better learning experience than to talk to people who have been there.
I'm doing that right now.
Yeah, yeah, you're doing great. I love it.
Thank you. Why do you think some seemingly great innovations fail? Are there any common signs you see?
Yes, I think a lot of people have expectations that they're going to be successful immediately. Like, I think the culture today is instant gratification, but I think that's a big negative. I think that you have to put in the work, you have to put in the time. And when people don't understand that it's going to take generally years to see success, they get frustrated and they give up. And I think that's like the number one thing is managing expectations for people to understand that it's a long journey. It's a marathon, not a sprint, as you've probably heard before. And if you can keep that mindset and understand that it takes a lot of time and a lot of help and a lot of resources to do that, then you'll be much better off. If you think you're going to be successful in a month or two, you're probably going to fail.
What do you think is the difference with working with innovators just getting their first product out versus ones that are already seasoned at it?
Well, working with somebody new, so it just takes longer to have somebody understand the steps like we were talking about before. When I work with somebody who's been through it or has been successful, need me for the basics. What they want is more advanced help. So, for example, Sid, if you have a new product, a new widget, and you want to sell it to Target and Walmart or somebody, I have to teach you about all the things to do to how to prepare a product, how to develop it, how to manufacture it, how to sell it, how to market it, how to approach the retailers. There's a lot to learn. But if you've already done it, and let's say you're selling your product to Walmart, and you say, Jim, look, I know what to do, but I want to sell to Target, or I want to sell direct to consumer, or I want to sell on Amazon. Well, then that's a different discussion. And I just teach them more advanced techniques or ways to refine what they're doing so they can get even more business than they originally were.
Okay, that makes sense. To somebody that already knows the foundations, it'll be much easier to like build up on them. But building the foundations, like in city building, I'm sure building the foundations has a much longer time frame than actually building above them.
It sure does.
What advice would you give to innovators who want to push their idea forward, but the system is too slow?
Well, again, we talked about this a little while ago. So that patience is important. And you really can't rush things. There are certain processes that take time. So, for example, if you want to develop a product, you can use AI and other tools and software to do that faster than you were able to do it even 5 or 10 years ago. But it still takes time. This is, like you said, building a foundation for a building. There are advanced techniques and machines and methods to do it faster, but if it used to take 2 years to do something, you could probably do it in a year and a half, but you still are going to spend a year and a half. So I would tell those people that to utilize the tools that are available to them to learn what they can before they get started, but that it's still going to take time. This is not an overnight build, if you will.
That that makes a lot of sense. Like if you have all of this extra time, then might as well use that to do more research to perfect your model
Correct.
rather than, I don't know, just cursing the amount of time that's available and just saying, oh, why can't it go faster? Like you have this time for a reason.
Exactly.
Could you please describe what you believe the emotional side of an innovation is?
Well, I write about this often, Sid, about emotion versus passion. I think when people have a product and want to sell it to a retailer or to license it, it's a business, and it's a business to the people that you're approaching, like a retailer or a company to license. I always feel like you want to be passionate about what you're doing, but you don't want to get too emotional because emotions can drive poor business decisions sometimes. And so if you have a new innovation, you want to be excited about it and you want to let people know that you're excited. And it shows in your personality when you talk about it. But if you make a decision because you're having a bad day or a tough time or a tough moment, you could make a decision that could really hurt your business. So I think when it comes to emotions, you have to be really careful about how you proceed, but you should always try to proceed with passion and enthusiasm because that people feel that and they see that and that is electric to them. That makes them excited to want to do business with you. But there is that distinct difference between the two.
Yeah, it's like you can't forever coddle like an innovation baby. You have to
Right.
let it walk on its own.
Right.
What do you think is more important on getting a product into the market? The product itself or the personality of its creator? You kind of talked about this slightly in the last question, but could you like
Yeah, that's a good one. The product or the person? Well, I don't know, Sid. It's hard to say. Look, if the product isn't viable, like if you're coming to me with a product that is just not interesting to people. You could have the greatest personality or highest level of enthusiasm in the world. It probably won't work. The product itself has to be a viable entity. It has to be desirable by people. It has to solve a problem, or it has to just be aspirational for people to want to purchase. You have to lead with product because the product is the thing that the business is built around. But when it comes to the person itself, if you're also not enthusiastic or you're sort of like boring sounding, right, when you're pitching a product, people might not sort of buy into what you're doing. But I do believe the product has to be the priority, because if the product isn't sound or foundationally strong or viable, I'm not sure a great person or personality can truly overcome that in most cases.
So having like product is like a really big foundation, and then you have to really make sure that you keep it stable. You have to make sure that like you just need to have a good product to start with, and just the way the way it progresses along will be like kind of, I don't want to say proportional, but like very similar to how your personality is to it.
Yeah, you're right. I think it starts with the product,
Yeah, it
a
starts with
person or personality that hopefully is the greatness of the potential of the product.
okay. I have one last question. You've been answering so good. Um, I really wish we could have more questions on this, but you've mentored so many people. But what about the feedback you receive? Can you share a compliment or a piece of constructive feedback that has stuck with you in your career?
Oh goodness. Well, I not to brag or anything, but I get a lot of wonderful feedback that really is the thing I hear the most, Sid, is when I'm online, like on LinkedIn or Facebook or somewhere, and I post regularly, basically every day, and have been doing it for many years. I often get messages or emails from people, and they say, Jim, I've been reading your post for 3 years or 7 years or 10 years, and I've never commented or liked any of your posts because I'm sort of quiet, or they're just shy, or they don't want to participate. But they've told me how much it's helped them, and they've had an idea and they've brought their invention all the way to market, or to getting it licensed, in large part based on the advice I've provided on social media. And they tell me how much it's meant to them, to my post, or the information that I share. And to me, that is by far the most rewarding side of that business, is having people tell me that what I do, even if it's just a small amount of inspiration or help, that it has helped them along the way. And that's a really nice feeling when you've been in a business that, yes, it's great to be in business and to make money and to be successful with your business, but that emotional side of it, where people tell you it's really been helpful for them, even if they don't invent a product, but they just feel inspired to do other things in their life and take action and with good direction, is extremely gratifying to me.
Wow, that was like the fact that even the most quiet people that often don't show their opinions out loud can really have that change. Like it just shows that even if nobody seems to be responding to what you do, you like really don't know if truly the people that see them are really changed by it. So I guess
Yes, I
that's a
agree.
sort of inspiration for other people that want to do something like that. So is there anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
Sure. I mean, I think what you're doing, and what Julie and everybody is doing in this space is important. And I love what you're doing. I I think it's pretty cool that you're at your age, you're hosting a podcast. I couldn't even imagine at age 12 doing what you're doing. So hats off to you. I think it's great. And hopefully you keep doing what you're doing, because you are an inspiration to not only other kids, but to people like me, knowing that you're out there, you're doing things, you're making a difference. That's a huge thing to me. So I really appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you, Jim. Well, that was an amazing podcast. Thank you for the compliments. I really learned a lot today, and well, good times must come to an end, so time to wrap up. I know our listening audience has really enjoyed learning about your work. Learn more about this program and others by visiting innovationworld.org. Thank you for joining the Innovation World Young Collaborator podcast series. This is Sid signing off until next time.